Thank you so much. And I'm going to do my best to add to the conversation, but apologize that I don't know Spanish, so I might not have caught everything, but I'm working hard to learn. And I think one of the key I just learned a lot from this time together that it will take back to our organization, to all our communications and programs, to help share some of the key ideas we learned here, or that I really learned. And again, appreciating that even though we have differences, we all have this common ground, literally, as the landscape, and the common interests and values for the world. And trying to think about how the different ways of going. Congratulations on the great charter and the ambitious and bold plan you have before you. I think it can be daunting, but you start with a plan and then you can chip away at it and start to make change. And I think the approaches, certainly in the U.S., it's a very our approach when I shared the declaration that we had coming out of the summit, and then now the action plan, is more of a, as Claude said, kind of a grassroots coming up, opportunistic and independent initiative within the United States. Yes, I would love to say that we are in all areas of government and connecting all the silos and coming up with legislation and actions to think this way and act this way to solve these defining issues of our time. But there's a real struggle right now in the U.S. And I think someone from Canada told me that they look at it as, in Canada, it's a mosaic. And in the U.S., we try to think of it as a melting pot. And I don't know which approach is better. They both have issues. But when this whole concept of cultural patrimony that I've learned a lot about coming here and how you view that, I think is really interesting and fundamental, as you said, to being able to come together and solve these larger issues. Certainly from a landscape perspective, broadening that understanding, certainly from the natural processes and resources. We understand the air you breathe doesn't stay above your head, right? I know I can say that 30% of the pollution in California is from China, right? So it gets in the air, it moves around, it gets in the water, it gets in the soil, it gets in the food, gets in you, and then it recycles again. So yes, it is imperative that we all unite under, I think this concept of cultural patrimony, and that we all have these shared views of looking at the landscape at large is critical to being able to solve these physical and ecological problems that we're facing. And so anyway, those are some of my key takeaways, and just the urgency. What I'd like to add is just the urgency to keep acting, right? We know what we need to do. We can't wait for permission from some higher up in the government or for some laws. We've got to push up and just start acting. And I guess that's the approach that we've taken through the Landscape Architecture Foundation in the United States is, all right, let's not wait till someone says it's okay to do this. We've got to just start acting and then growing together to make that happen. Let's see, what else do I want to say? So yeah, we do need to rise up together. It's time. It's even past time. I think sometimes it can get overwhelming to think of all that needs to be done, and certainly the ambitious plan you've put forth in your charter to get the perspective that we have in terms of scale and time, not to overwhelm us, but to also give us perspective and strength to move forward. And sometimes I think of, when I get overwhelmed, I think of the Chinese proverb that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is now. So not to get overwhelmed or give up, don't quit, just move forward and enact your plan. So the next part is implementation and execution. I would like to add that, let's see. The challenge is how to translate these values and beliefs to action, and just encourage everyone to act and learn from each other. And moving forward, what we commit is to introduce into the conversations that we're having in the U.S. To promote a greater understanding of, first of all, just to strengthen this human right to landscape, not just the individual parts, to being united in the Americas under this historic and cultural understanding, and that we are a larger part of this whole people and place and people, and that approach. And so to start those conversations from where we have. And I know that we'll have this summit in 2021, and try to get more representation from this perspective in the Americas to help, because that really launched huge conversations in the U.S. in the profession. And I think the key thing we need to do is to, now that we know we're all on the same page, we might have different ways of implementing given our cultural contexts and governance structures, but that we're all on the page with our basic values and beliefs and understanding, then to just continue those conversations, get the word out, and start acting on them in a way that is with the confidence to know that we're not alone, that we have all of each other in all the Americas to come together and learn from each other and work together. I did have the video, and I think it works if we want to show it. This would be a great multimedia exercise, and then I'll say a few comments after the end. But just again, to hear some of the ideas that we collected from this conversation, and I think in terms of our strategy, the important is having these conversations. So I really appreciate being here and inviting Megan and I to be here and learn from you, so we can share that back. And we are at the foundation have the ability to reach a wider audience through the foundation. So with that, I'll share with you some of the conversations. I hope you recognize some of the things. I'm going to listen to it with new ears after this last couple days. And that helped then drive what is in our charter, or what we're calling our new declaration, which you all received on Wednesday. And then from that, conversations for the last 2 years, adding to the action plan, which we'll be announcing in October. So I can still go back and tweak a few things in there from what I've learned today. So thank you. All right, can we show the video? Great.
5 million people a month are moving to cities looking for a better life. The Anthropocene age is, of course, upon us, and we, humans, are its defining species.
If there is the age of engineering and then there is the age of architecture, this is the age of landscape architecture.
We are nearing the point of no return when it comes to reversing or even mitigating the adverse effects of climate change.
Not all people are being affected evenly.
Dealing with public space in the most poorest areas, I think it's a social equalizer, and also it's a degree of environmental justice.
Despite the impassioned plea of our colleagues 50 years ago, landscape architects have mostly been peripheral to large environmental agendas.
We need to be developing contemporary aesthetic solutions to the contemporary problems.
I believe that we need to build political capital to make change.
We need to promote design as a field of inquiry.
We need to bring more people into our profession. We need to diversify our thinking.
The charge is serious. The charge is urgent.
We don't know where we're heading exactly, but we are going to live through fantastic adventures with this discipline. The moment is now.
All right, so as Dirk said there in closing, thank you. There is the full 18 minutes, and all the conversations are on our website too, so you can learn from. But I think, as he said in closing, that we don't know where we're heading. We have kind of an idea of the hard parts, but this is a fantastic adventure. We're in the right place at the right time, and this is the time to act. And so I want to thank you all for all that you're doing, and I look forward to working together so that we can leverage our impact. So thanks so much.